Hello, in this video we're going to continue with our sculpt of our guy here. When learning how to do all these different shapes, the way that I kind of learned, and I still check my work because my eye here is a bit wonky looking, but the way that I would fix this is by looking at my reference. So if there's someone specific I'm making, or I would do a search and look up like planes of the eye, and do images, and you can see how these things are supposed to be put together. So if I look at this one, you see that there's ridge here and a ridge here, and there's a bit of a diamond shape. So you can break this down into 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So when I have that, then I can go over here and fix that. So one of the things wrong with this eye is that those peaks aren't in the peaks of the eye aren't there correctly. So kind of this should be up here. So it should peak like that. I'm not saying that that's not something that a person would have, but generally that's what goes on, is there's a bit of a peak here and then a peak down here, and then this part of the eye doesn't do that kind of thing. But there is variation in real life, so just be aware of that. So you use these rules of thumb, and then you look at the actual person or design and build from there. But that was a pretty quick eye, so I would put some more work into it. So let's move on to the mouth. So let's do that, the correct process of searching. So planes of the mouth. And you can see here the different shapes that are being done with drawings. Let's see if we can find a good option here. That might be the best one. This is a good one. So you see it's broken up into these pieces like this, and there's like a peak here, like there and there. And then we can even look at this one and see, okay, they broke it down like this. So there's a bunch of ways that you can break it down. Here's probably the most simple ways to break down the mouth. And then look at your reference too. So there's some good stuff in here. You can also look at planes of the head, and then you can look at something like this, and that's a really good one. So that's a really good one too. So now now that I have an idea, I can put this off to the side and start working, and see how these things are kind of put together. I'm going to hit Shift D to go down to a lower subdivision, and what it looks like happens is there's a mound. So I'm going to use my clay tubes. So I'll use clay tubes, stamp, standard, and a move tool. I'll use those three a lot. So now I have this kind of thing. Oops. I'm going to bring this in a bit. So something like this might make sense. And then I'm going to go up division. And now I'm going to use my dam standard. And I'm going to sculpt into this. So when I look at my reference, it kind of goes up and down. So something like that. And maybe that's not intense enough, so I need to bring up the intensity. So then it cuts in more, and then I can, now that's too intense, use this to get that ridge. So I'm going like that. Go up a division. And I can push in here, so usually the mouth pinches in a little bit like that. And I'm just adding more of that definition. I'm really gentle with my brushes. Like this. Smoothing that out. This is too defined. That, and then I'm going to go over and use clay tubes and just build this up because it's too flat. Like usually there's a bit of volume here. I'm smoothing it out. And then what usually happens, a lot of times this happens, is this shape kind of appears. There's a little dot there. It's almost like a upside down bat or something. And then I'll smooth it out. Get that chin in more. And it looks like I lost some of my volume here, so I'm going to go back, or my cutting with my dam standard, and I'm going to cut that in a bit more. Define that lip line there, and then I can even just go up here and just make that more defined like that. Yeah, and that's how I would make a mouth.